Hello everyone, and welcome back to more AEW on TEW2020. We're on the second week of March, and we're starting off with our BTE. The Jacksons, they just have their normal, intro thing that they always do. Then we have our normal Dark Order shenanigans, which again, I'll eventually actually do stuff with, but not now. Then we start off with the Queen's Court being backstage. They're laying out a red carpet for Ashley Flair's rival, and Lady Bernice is seemingly in charge, and she's overseeing the actions of Lydia and Christina, and a very confused Penelope Ford and Vipress of the Rose Garden walk in and ask what they're doing, and Bernice just says, "We're waiting for the Queen of Pro Wrestling to arrive," and kind of just shoos them off, get out of the way, we have important business to take care of. Ford and Vipress just shrug and say that, Garza is a bigger and sexier star, bigger, sexier deal than Flair. They don't lay a red carpet for him, and Lydia just kind of gives a really concerned look, just like a, "You what now?" And, she advises them to maybe set up a red carpet for Garza, because, while he is attractive, even if he's not as important as, as Ashley Flair, they need to treat him properly. And Vipress and Ford give each other looks and head off, and Bernice kind of looks more annoyed than anything as they continue to set up their red carpet. I'm still working on BTE sketches, not great with them so far. After this, the Dudley twins are backstage. They're looking very sad about their recent record and how they haven't actually picked up a win in AEW yet. Two of them keep talking to each other until Kylie Ray skips into frame, places a smiley face sticker on both of their noses. She skips off again, and the Dudleys just kind of look confused. A few people then walk up to them and give them their sympathies, and they all also have smiley face stickers on them. So, Raven Creed, Nancy Bouchard, Matt Cardona, Keith Bolton, and Diamante, they have all been sticker bombed. After this, Maki Ito's walking, and she's frantically looking around. She's clearly looking for something. Shotzi sees this, kind of taps Maki on the shoulder. She asks, "What's wrong?" Maki, she's just rattling off, just motor-mouthing in Japanese. There are subtitles, but they're kind of going just really quick. Subtitles, of course, on the YouTube thing, because this is, VT, it's on YouTube. And the entire time that Maki's speaking, Shotzi's actually looking at the subtitles, and she can actually read the subtitles, so she knows, alright, you're looking for Abaddon. So, the two go out. Maki's a little bit confused, but kind of just like, whatever, fine. I just need to find my pet zombie. And they do, as Abaddon is in catering, and everyone else is they're real stepped back. They don't want to get in the way of this zombie, who's probably, tearing into a chicken leg or something. Maki runs over, hugs Abaddon. Shotzi looks a little bit proud of herself, and while Maki is celebrating the reuniting of her and her zombie, Shotzi's already walked away before Maki can thank her. And so, now the two of them, they run off, they start looking for Shotzi as being the Elite ends. Starting off our dark, David Fudra defeats Martin Valentine. After this, part of the youth tournament, Chris Bay defeats Gabriel Kidd from New Japan. Chris Bay, of course, representative from AEW. After this, we have the second episode of The Waiting Room, and the guest is your TNT champion, Pac. Pac is very nicely dressed, and he has all of Brutality Inc. joining him, and they're all very well dressed as well. Britt Baker asks for his reason to have an open challenge at the main event of last week. Pac just says, "Because I need to prove that I'm the champion. I'm one of the greatest workers in the world, and I've been put with someone who has never and will never get the spotlight. Someone who just proves other people's worth while he steals those away who are better than him." Of course, referencing the feud with Eddie Kingston, and how that kind of always went in Pac's favor, except for when the Lucha Bros Lucha Bros betrayed Pac to join Kingston, because that was what was happening at real life at the time, because Pac was gone overseas still, but that's besides the point. And I like that pairing a bit, so whatever. Continuing on, Pac says, "I will never lose this championship. I will grab that gold from MJF for even implying that he's got a leg up over me, because Moxley focused his efforts on me at All Out instead of him. TNT is not enough to contain me. I deserve the top prize." And after getting very fired up, he kind of just tosses the mic down. He walks out, The rest of Battalion follow suit, except for Killer Kelly, who kind of stands around a little bit, and she eventually picks up the mic, looks at it, looks as if she's going to say something, and then she kind of just hurls it over at Cynthia Regal, Britt Baker's replacement for Reba, because I don't really like Reba that much. So, or at least I didn't at the time, so I kind of fired her early on. Whoops. But yeah. After this, we have Ben K of, I want to say Dragon Gate. No, he's DDT. Ben K of DDT defeats indie guy Cody Chun. Yeah. Then we have Abaddon defeating Nancy Bouchard in a real quick squash match, and afterwards, Maki Ito's preparing to sing a song celebrating their win, with Abaddon being the backing vocalist. As soon as the music starts, however, Maki gets very irritated, as instead of her planned up music, Big Swole's music comes on. And Big Swole walks onto the stage, she has a mic, and she says, "Look, Maki, I get it, you're popular, Abaddon's popular, but that's because your jokes. You are amusing to the audience. You two are the reason people are scared by wrestling, because you make it a joke. I'm a legit athlete, while you're a failed singer and a girl pretending to be a zombie. You guys are getting more spotlight than people who deserve it more than you. You guys have your places, sure, but I just don't think that other people... But I just think that other people probably going to say, you know, deserve that spotlight more than you do, something like that." Either way, she's not able to say anything more as Abaddon rushes through the ropes. She bull rushes Big Swole, beats her down. Maki Ito comes out. She and Maki help pull Abaddon off. Abaddon attacks Riho, and then Maki kind of just like grabs Abaddon like by like the almost by her collar, just drags her back off, and that's really just kind of, you know, we have a story on Dark, surprisingly. After this, another youth tournament match as Griff Garrison defeats Treehouse Lee. Sure. He's the protege of Sting now, by the way. Kota Brazil defeats Lee Moriarty of GCW, I want to say. This one, I'm kind of just left up to chance, so yeah. Britt Baker defeats Janice White. Sean Spears defeats Dallas Mantello. This is going to be a pretty bad dark, but oh well. And the Best Friends defeat the Cross Brothers. Kind of just wanted to get some people more momentum, because we are a little bit, you know, we have mainly like these last 3 matches were kind of just for building momentum, because all of them are in very bad momentum. But anyways, that finishes off Dark, so we'll see you over at Dynamite. Beginning our show of Dynamite, we have another match in the Tag Team Contenders Tournament, with the Motor City Machine Guns being defeated by the Lucha Bros. Eddie Kingston, new gimmick, I was hoping for a little bit better things, but oh well. After this, a vignette is shown of Matt Sydal and his work with Miroslav and Lance Archer. Now, in the past few weeks, all of them have been succeeding in their attempts to manage some of the anger that the big 2 wrestlers have. And of it, Matt Sydal goes up to the 2 and says that he thinks that they've done well, and next week the 3 of them will have a trios match against someone. See just how far they've progressed. Miroslav very quickly agrees to this, while Lance Archer and Jake Roberts are visibly less enthused, but they still agree to it anyways. So this has been a little bit of a long-lasting story, a pretty good gimmick there for Matt Sydal. After this, Zack Sabre Jr. breaks his jaw after... Alright, perfect. Way to go, Patrick Scott. In less than a minute, you managed to break Zack Sabre Jr.'s jaw. Right after the match, Brian Cage rushes into the ring, and he pounces Zack Sabre Jr. Before Angle can do anything, he's ambushed by Ricky Starks and Jeff Cobb, sliding to the ring to protect Cage and fight off FTR and Charles Betts. The numbers soon begin to overwhelm Team Taz, although they do even out once Brian Cage has taken out ZSJ enough, and apparently after Patrick Scott manages to defeat ZSJ enough by breaking his jaw in less than a minute. The skill finally ends when members of the staff break up the fight with a lot of effort. Team Taz is being removed. Taz himself has a mic. He asks, rhetorically, that is enough of a challenge for Kurt to accept. Of course, Taz, Kurt Angle, have had a lot of history together. Now they each have their own team. And to be honest, I was actually worrying about the numbers advantage that Kurt Angle's team had. But now with Zack Sabre Jr. Injured, the broken jaw, probably going to be out for a few months in his first match on Dynamite. Not exactly, well, his first singles match on Dynamite, rather. I believe he's had a few matches on Dark. I think he's had a few tag matches as well. But breaking his jaw, not a great sign for Mr. Zack Sabre Jr. After this, Renee Paquette is interviewing Jeff Hardy. And she asks him about everything that happened last week. In particular, him and Matt Hardy's loss against Top Flight in the tournament, as well as the vignette that Darby had made. And Jeff says, like Kurt said last week, me and Matt haven't been in our primes for a while. So a quick roll-up ended up taking us down. It's not the cleanest win, but a win is a win. And for us, a loss is a loss. But as for Darby, I still have insane respect for him. Even so, I want to face him in the ring. Even though we faced with each other, I want to face against each other. We're both daredevils. Both have a bit of notoriety for doing dangerous things, and I want to see this clash of old and new. Even if the styles, even if the stunts are the same. And if he wins, this will be this passing of the torch. If I win, he's just not ready for it yet. Even, regardless of what happens in the end, I want to see what Darby does through the rest of his career. So, Jeff just very much, he wants to, obviously there are a lot of comparisons that are between Jeff Hardy and Darby Allin. And Jeff wants to face off against Darby. And Darby, he feels the same way. So, we'll see how things lead on from there. After this, and easily going to be the worst match of the tag tournament, Midnight Dynamite defeats the Dark Order's Alex Reynolds and John Silver. After Fred Yehi submits Alex Reynolds with a Koji clutch. Reynolds' weak link with a 31. Pretty respectable for Yehi, actually, with a 49. I'm gonna guess that... well, a lot of inconsistency. This is definitely, again, kind of just how things worked out. Now, with the tournament, we're gonna have one unimportant versus unimportant, so might as well take care of it now, put it in the middle of the show, just get it out of the way. That's fine. Afterwards, Jon Moxley defeats David Fuldra in 2 minutes with a double arm DDT. The Death Rider, or Paradigm Shift, or whatever he calls it. I think that's what it is. And just a very quick match, another squash. That's 2 of them on the day so far. But after the match, Eddie Kingston's music plays, and the Leader of Men walks onto the stage, and he has the Blood Brothers close behind. Oh, whoops, I meant to have the Butcher there instead of the Bunny. Oh well. He says, John, look, I know you're probably a bit angry that little twerp Max took your title, huh? I think now's as good as time to let things come up. Back when you were at the top of the mountain, I didn't have a chance in hell to get up to you. I had all these little wrinkles, all these little annoyances, preventing me from being able to really talk to you like we used to. We're buddies, right, Mox? Well, I've got a spot wide open for you here, but, hey, I understand if you don't want it, I just drag it down. But even still, we've got some unfinished business. We've known each other longer than just about anyone. So if there's anyone who wants to see you back at the top, you gotta believe in me. We're brothers, Mox. I got my blood brothers here, but you're a different kind of blood brother. Our blood runs thick. We've warred against each other, and we've come to be closer than blood until you left for the spotlight while I stayed down in the trenches. And probably just more stuff like that. I don't really feel... I'm still getting back into the rhythm of booking, because I haven't for a while, aside from last episode, which before then it was a very long while. So kind of just still working things out. Probably could have written a little bit more, but either way, Moxley, a very nice job here as we begin, well, Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley, but this time in TEW, which is probably not going to go as well as it did in Real World, but oh well. After this, Adam Page is seen drinking at a bar, and he slams down a glass of whiskey. He orders another one to see that the bartender is not a bartender, but instead the Godfather, who leans up against the bar. Private Party soon come into frame, and they flank Page on either side. As I said, I meant side. And Godfather just says, hey man, you've been down lately, been in a bit of a slump. No, he ain't exactly the best to turn to for life advice, but we're here to help you out, Adam. And Page just orders another whiskey. Godfather, he's already prepared for this. He already has a whiskey poured out, ready to go, sets it on the bar, sets out drinks for both of the Private Party. And Page just says, I'm not sure if I need help from a tag team. Life's been downhill since I joined a tag team. I thought maybe if I beat Pac, I could get back up, but... And before he can, probably... At that point, he takes a drink to the Private Party, they put their hands on his shoulder, and they offer for Page to accompany them to the ring for their tag team tournament match next week, and if he wants it, they'll also help him out for some singles competition. Now, and Page kind of waves them away. He's a bit dismissive of them, because, Private Party, they are a tag team, they are primarily tag team people, I don't think they've done a single, I don't think either of them have done a singles match so far yet in this save. Page, of course, he wants to look for that solo glory. He's lost his way. He's trying to find out, alright, where am I looking for? Because since losing the title, since Kenny betrayed him, he's just been out of it. He's been doing basically nothing. And Godfather, awful. I think we somehow managed to get it to be a worse gimmick than it already was. Oh well. We're at the point where it's late, where it's been a while enough since last gimmick changes that we can start getting some, so I'm trying to get some of the bad gimmicks better. It's not exactly working out, if you saw there. After this, in a surprisingly long match, Jungle Boy defeats Jonathan Gresham. MJF was on commentary for this. Do we have anything for... Yeah. But yeah, QT Marshall, he's a coach now. But yeah, MJF, he was on commentary. He replaced Excalibur for this. Probably most of the time just talking trash about Jungle Boy. Because, of course, those two will be facing off against each other in a world title match sometime in the near future. Gresham, he's just a solid hand in the ring. After this, Hikaru Shida. Okay, perfect. This did work exactly as I thought. Oh, I forgot about that. Shida defeats AJ Mendez. When Mendez was disqualified, went to Nil Dashwood, ran in and attacked Hikaru Shida. Lots of bad blood between Shida and the VIP's Club. VIP's Club went after Shida pretty early on, and so now they're starting to do a little bit of payback. But after this, all hell breaks loose as the VIP's Club, because Deonna's close behind as well. They rush in, they keep beating down Shida. AJ Mendez, she recovers enough to help, and those three, they're eventually stopped by the arrival of Kairi Hojo and Mayu Iwatani, who, of course, even though it's technically isn't canon because it's BTE, but last week's BTE, they were like, hey, you know what, it's fine, we're friends now. But they're coming out, they're helping out Shida. But a little bit after those two arrive, Shotzi Blackheart also comes out because, she's been feuding with the VIP's Club as well, and she's attacked by the first person she feuded with, and that I kind of abandoned the feud with, Nyla Rose, who kind of just, gives her a pounce. I'm very much in a pounce mood for this booking set. And then she also begins to beat down Mayu. Eventually, we have these 8 women, they're fighting against each other. You have, people who are on the left here, they're, VIP's Club, Nyla Rose, AJ Mendez. They're all fighting against Kairi, Mayu, Shotzi, and Hikaru. And eventually things kind of slowly and naturally dissipate, so the fighting is stopped. The 4 faces are in the ring, while the heels are kind of just prowling outside the ring. They still smell a little bit of blood in the water, and there's going to be some interesting things going on, probably. I don't actually know, my booking's probably not the best. And in our main event, Kota Ibushi defeats Sammy Guevara for a nice 75. After the match, the Inner Circle surround the ring. Jericho walks into the ring, he points his bat over to Kota, starts talking crap to Ibushi until Cody's music hits. He storms into the ring, and he gets in between Jericho and Kota. Austin rolls in, Sammy Guevara gets up from his match, and they outnumber Scorpio Sky and Dustin Rhodes, then rush into the ring. And then Hager finally gets up to even out the numbers. I did admittedly forget that Hager is not able to work another match until another month or so, because he has a hernia, which I'll figure out what to do with this. Show fades to black as we have these 8 people staring each other down as our potential main event, as in I'm going to try to make this our main event for next week. Show gets to 68. Not the best. Again, I am still working on trying to get back into the swing of booking, especially because I kind of did like a hard not necessarily a hard reset. I did reset all of our stories pretty much. A few are still going on, but not really all that many. It's mostly a clean slate, so I kind of just got to get back into the role of, figuring out how stories are going to progress, figuring out what the basis of each storyline is going to be, what each feud is going to be, who's going to win what, because I don't really plan that much, I'm going to be honest. So, just kind of seeing how things are as I just kind of feel it out, but we'll figure out how I feel things out and see how our next week's Dynamite goes in the next episode.